Joining us now is Don Katz, the chairman of OPERF. So first of all, welcome.
Thank you.
Of course.
Yeah, appreciate that.
So tell us a little bit about what you're working on right now.
Okay. Well, OPERF is the Orthotic and Prosthetic Education and Research Foundation, and we've got quite a bit cooking right now. In fact, it's a pretty exciting time. We're actually at our 10-year anniversary. We were founded in 2008.
Great, congratulations.
Thank you, yeah, and we're really excited about it. And in fact, many thanks to the Academy for helping us convene a strategic planning meeting, which we convened yesterday. It was a full-day meeting of the entire OPERF board coming together, working with others that are certainly passionate about our vision of enhancing education and research. So we brought in representatives from NCOPE, from ABC. ABC has been a fantastic supporter for us. And so we've been really kind of looking at where have we been over the past 10 years?
Sure.
You know, what type of research grants have we funded? What types of education grants have we funded? Really looking back and really just taking a step back saying, okay, orthotics and prosthetics as a profession has changed quite a bit in 10 years' time. I mean, when we started, master's degrees weren't even a requirement, for instance, for baseline education to become an orthotist or prosthetist. Well, now that's different today. And that's frankly a great thing, because with more postgraduate educated orthotists and prosthetists, the more you can actually foster more exciting research opportunities, right?
Definitely.
And so we're kind of taking a look back, and then we're also then looking forward for how where do we want to go now, you know,
right.
And how can we best continue to grow this important body of work for sort of cultivating academic leaders and research scientists.
That's great. So kind of along those lines, what research are you hoping to fund or advance?
Great question. So the tactic that we've taken since day one is investigator-initiated research, meaning we don't come forward and put out an RFP, a request for proposal, if you will, to fund a specific research topic. We rather say we want to make that more investigator-initiated to where the research we want to support is clinically relevant. The thing that we're now looking at, though, as we kind of embarked on our strategic planning is, well, how do we define clinically relevant? You know, I mean, that seems pretty straightforward, but in essence, we've really been getting, with more and more grant production of research, where there's more and more peer review publications coming from it, which is exciting to us. That's also then bringing in different types of potential investigators seeking funding for research. And so, how do we define clinically relevant? I mean, at one point it was sort of going to be feeding more off the Academy's work for State of the Science conferences. These State of the Science conferences were largely looking at what is the current body of evidence to help guide clinical decision making. From that work, there would be an evidence report that would identify gaps in evidence to guide clinical decision making. And so those would hopefully then feed to those that are inclined to do investigations. They say, you know what, I think I can help fill that gap. I've got a hypothesis that this treatment modality might be better for that patient population.
Sure.
So they would then come together and say, listen, I'd like to propose a research idea I have for funding from the organization. And so our foundation has always been founded that way, but now we're starting to just pose the question, all right, we have other investigators that might be bioengineers and not clinicians. We always like to have a clinician involved typically, because that helps make sort of assure that the types of research is going to be clinically relevant. But you know, it's an opportunity right now to take a fresh look at that, how we define it.
So tell us a little bit about what's the big goal that the foundation's working on, would you say?
Yeah, I think, Jacqueline, probably the biggest goal right now is, as we kind of take a step back, do a retrospective review of how we fostered research and cultivated a growing cadre of qualified educators. Again, that's working with NCOPE and ABC. I think what we really now need to do is take a deeper dive into what is our current financial assets, where have we been, and define where do we think we really want to be. You know, what types of research, what types of education grants. And when I say education grants, we've been supporting students. Again, many thanks to ABC for supporting 10 $1,000 student education awards, as well as up to 4 resident travel awards. But there's so much more that we think we might want to be able to do to support education and our educators, and frankly clinicians that may have an interest in becoming an educator. So we really need to start taking a close look at where are our assets now, where do we think we need to be, what do we want to provide support for in the future, and how might we then project what type of fundraising is, frankly, how do we kind of get there?
Right.
And start setting some goals. We really haven't been that focused on growing the foundation with certain goals in mind. It's really been much more organic, and it's been very successful. I mean, we've bestowed over $400,000 worth of grants since our inception 10 years ago, which is exciting for us. And,
Definitely.
And so, now we want to be maybe a bit more strategic and say, okay, we now have a pretty good track record. Where do we want to take this next? So that's probably the biggest part of it as anything.
All right. Thank you, Don, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate it.